This episode of Cognitive Dissonance is brought to you by our patrons. You fucking rock. Be advised that this show is not for children, the faint of heart, or the easily offended. The explicit tag is there for a reason.
Recording live from Glory Hole Studios in Chicago, this is Cognitive Dissonance. Every episode we blast anyone who gets in our way. We bring critical thinking, skepticism, and irreverence to any topic that makes the news, makes it big, or makes us mad. It's skeptical, it's political, and there is no welcome mat. This is episode 507 of Cognitive Dissonance. And Cecil, you know what's amazing about a week like this? You know what's amazing about a world that we're living in right now? Is this week, the articles of impeachment were sent from the House to the Senate, and you and I talked about politics and a bunch of other stuff just as we ate dinner, and it didn't even come up.
Yeah.
Like, we're in a place where it's like...
You and I skipped over, we glossed over it.
Yeah, well, I'm worried about like 40 different things, and I forgot to even remember in that conversation.
Yeah. We glossed over it.
How fucking crazy is that? It's not just Australia that's on fire. It's like our whole fucking world is on fire right now.
It's unreal. We will save a lot of that talk for This Week in Trump. There is going to be some election talk. We're hoping to get to some Russian hacking in the show, but we will save all that talk for the end of the show.
Hoping the right word, Cecil.
Tom, sometimes I say the wrong thing.
I frequently.
Whoa, that's a full rainbow. All the way. Double rainbow. Oh my God. It's a double rainbow all the way. Whoa! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Woo! Oh my God! What's it mean? Help me. Too much. Tell me what it means.
So I want to talk about, a whole bunch of crazy shit today. So this story comes from wave3.com. No less you think that's bullshit. I think it's an NBC affiliate. Rainbow shirt and cake, a lifestyle violation. Student expelled from private school. So there's a school, and I actually grabbed this story because the name of this school tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
It's called Whitefield Academy. And I love it because it's like, welcome to Privilege University, where our doors are open.
That
sometimes to the right people.
Is a killer name for an online university. Privilege University? Are you kidding me?
We should start a Privilege University, and all the classes are a little late because that's when you're woke.
Every class,
afternoon class is
every
a Privilege
class,
University.
The syllabus requirements, be white.
On being white, the joys of being it's like the joys of cooking, the joys of white. You're just like,
white music.
Actually, all the pages in this are blank. There's no white music. You tricked me. Taking white dance classes, everyone's doing the Carltons. You're like, this is ironic because that's a black guy that does it, but it's still a weirdly white dance.
That guy's amazing. The Carlton, didn't he? I think he trademarked that dance.
Did he really?
Because I remember there was a video game. Now maybe I'm misremembering this, and I hate if I am misremembering this. If I am misremembering this, I'm going to edit it out of the show. I remember there was a Carlton dance on one of the video games I played because dances and emotes happen on video games. You type in dance and it does that. Certain character may do that dance or not do that dance. And the Carlton was in there and they got sued or something and they had to take it down. And so it was the Carlton or it was a different dance. And if it was a different dance, no one heard this.
So this is great. And it's not great because it's terrible. So there's a private school called Whitefield Academy, which is exactly what you probably think that it is. And there was a 14-year-old student. She attended Whitefield Academy up until her birthday, where she decided to wear a rainbow outfit and she got a cake that had a rainbow on it. And her mom took a picture of it and put it on fucking Facebook. And then she got expelled as a lifestyle violation.
Yeah, it was the final straw in the lifestyle violations for them.
When you're so fucking delicate,
yeah,
like when you are the fucking wilting flower of fucking terror and fear, so much so that you're like, look, if a little girl likes a rainbow at home, she cannot learn what we have to teach her at our school.
Could you imagine being so triggered by a rainbow that you see it and you immediately flip your shit?
Right.
Could you imagine living your life like that?
I can't because I want to walk around and not be afraid of the fucking world that I live in. I want to not be afraid of the fucking refraction of light through a prism.
What if it was
because I'm not a giant fucking pussy?
What if it was a Dark Side of the Moon shirt? Because it has the prism on it.
Yeah.
The Pink Floyd prism that shows
true,
the
right?
rainbow.
Yeah.
Is that rainbow okay?
Man.
Is that not a gay rainbow?
Couldn't she argue that's like a covenant rainbow?
Oh, yeah. You could just say, hey, that's a...
Or just argue I'm 14 and I like rainbows. Like, I'm thinking of my fucking daughter and my wife fucking love rainbows. They just do. Because some people like colorful things.
Yeah.
And that's how the world works.
Yeah.
Rainbows are pretty.
Yeah.
The end. When I see a rainbow, I'm a 40-fucking-1-year-old man. When I see a rainbow, I'll point it out to anyone nearby. I'm like, rainbow! Because I still think they're pretty.
Yeah. She should try to appeal this. And she should use tort law.
Oh,
it's a kind of cake. It's a kind of cake.
Oh.
It's a kind of cake.
Oh.
Speaking of cakes.
Yes.
Best cake, worst cake.
Worst cake. Oh, worst cake is easier than best cake.
Worst cake is probably our same.
Well, I don't know.
I think we're going to have the same worst cake.
All right. Well, worst cake is
1, 2, 3. Tres leches.
Oh, I was got to change my answer. I was going to say grocery store vanilla cake.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's bad too.
Grocery store vanilla cake is inedibly sweet.
Anything that uses fluid flux, or fluid flex, I think it's called. Fluid flex. I forget what it is.
But air conditioning fluid.
So if you go to the grocery store,
right,
they don't use butter or high quality shortening even.
They don't use butter.
I got to show you what it is.
Or any of these. They use vast. Ew.
It comes in a tub,
Ew.
and it's the grossest shit you've ever seen.
So the ingredients are soybean oil, glycerol lactoesters of fatty acids, vegetable monodiglycerides, TBHQ added to protect flavor. That's important. Without that TBHQ, the flavor just... it couldn't even walk down a street at night.
To explain the texture of this, imagine if you went to Starbucks and instead of they put milk in that steamer, someone just jizzed in a cup and then they steamed that.
That's demonic.
Seriously, it's the grossest, nastiest shit, and it tastes horrible. It's literally the worst. Ugh. It's an awful flavor, and it leaves a chemical taste on all kinds of baking goods.
Yeah, that explains it.
So if you go into a grocery store and you get the cheap cake, you're not getting butter, you're not getting shortening, you're getting fluid flex, which that song Vaseline, that's what you're getting. It's like a little less viscosity. I don't know, viscosity, maybe viscosity is the wrong word. It's a little less firm than Vaseline, but it is essentially Vaseline. Ugh. It's the foulest shit you've ever seen.
Okay, but
it pours and then it's like one of those sticky hands. Once it stops, it slurps itself back up into the bucket. It's awful.
I am still trying to decide if that is worse. If that's
worse than the Tres Leches.
Tres Leches.
Yeah.
Tres Leches cake is cake somebody else. It's baby bird cake.
Yeah.
Somebody else chewed it.
Baby bird cake is what you just have to, when you go to the restaurant, you open your mouth.
Yeah.
And then the waiter comes by, shakes himself a few times, and then deposits it in your open mouth.
Like a cat vomit, just like that shoulder thing they do, or just they're all the skin from ass to shoulders chasing itself.
And he's got to back up a little bit while he does it. He's got to take a couple steps back.
I got to get away from this. I'm moving out. So the first time I ever had Tres Leches cake was at work. And a very, very nice woman that I used to work with, she's like, you never had Tres Leches? No, I've never had it. She's like, it's so good. It's so moist. And I was like, who doesn't want a moist cake? That sounds amazing, right? A moist cake sounds good. You know, like a cake should not be a sponge used to soak up the dishwasher fluid. Like, it's fucking wretched.
It's awful.
The texture of Tres Leches cake is
it's the worst.
Mind-numbingly
It's the
bad.
worst.
Yeah.
It's the grossest thing.
Yeah.
It's baby food.
It's
baby food.
Baby food for a baby you don't even look at. It's like baby food for that ugly baby that's like your neighbor's baby.
Shaken baby food. That's what it is.
Shaken baby, and I helped.
Favorite cake?
You're gonna laugh at me. I fucking love carrot cake.
Carrot cake is excellent. You've just got to make sure that the frosting's got to be on point.
Yeah,
if the frosting's not on point, it's not even close to middle of the pack. It's a bad cake.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
When a carrot cake is good, my wife makes an amazing carrot cake.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and you know what else makes a terrific carrot cake is Gibson's, the Steakhouse Gibson's.
Okay.
Oh my God, that cake is so good.
Yeah.
And the best part is when you order it, they bring you like a whole cake.
It's amazing.
It's so much cake.
Chicago steakhouses go out of their way to try to outdo each other.
Yeah.
And they basically try to cover up as much of the plate as they can. And then also go 7 to 8 inches tall.
Yeah, it's huge. It's like a black man's penis. It's that high.
It needs a Magnum to cover it. That's what they give you as a doggy bag to take it home.
Like, I seriously wilt every time I order. I'm just like, all right, whatever. It's cold in my pants.
I've had it at a couple of big steakhouses here in Chicago, and again, it's been meh. But it depends on the place.
Yeah.
My mother made the very best in the world. I have the recipe at home, and it's the very best. I've never had carrot cake as good as the carrot cake my mother used to make, and it's just. But there's few. It's not. Those aren't. They're not all over. My favorite cake is soccer tort. That's absolutely
Soccer tort's delicious.
Soccer tort's my favorite. It's almond chocolate layers with a apricot filling inside, covered with a coat of chocolate frosting and then ganache.
Ugh.
And it's chocolate and fruit, but it's a good combination of chocolate and fruit. It's very good. I like that cake quite a bit. But carrot cake's very high up on my list. Banana cake, when it's done well,
is
excellent. Absolutely
I'm trying to think if I've
excellent.
had banana cake.
Really?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've ever had
moist,
banana cake.
It's got a delicious flavor to it. Normally has a very similar icing to carrot cake. Very good.
Banana cake.
Very good. Yeah, banana cake.
Now I got to try banana cake.
Banana cake's excellent. Yeah, huge fan of that. Tell us what your favorite cake is,
I
everybody.
want to hear about your cake.
Yeah, tell us what your favorite cake is.
People are just going to send us like fucking those cake farting videos and stuff. Well, listen, if you're into cake farting or, anything else.
Cake play. If you're into cake play or any other kind of play.
Any other kind. If you like to play, you can head over to adamandeve.com. You can enter Glory at checkout. Valentine's Day is coming.
Valentine's Day is coming.
That special someone. Hell, if you're your own special someone, surprise yourself.
Yeah.
Get drunk, order a bunch of shit on adamandeve.com, and surprise yourself when it shows up.
Use your left hand and you could do the stranger that night.
So here's what you get right now. Things have changed. It's, at Valentine's Day and a little extra. 50% off almost any item. You get 6 free movies. You get a mystery pack. There's something for her. There's something for him. There's something for both of you. Lots of great stuff happening over at adamandeve.com right now. Just enter Glory at checkout. Shipping is free as well.
But in the school, let's roll back to the school though real quick. So in the school, this girl gets expelled because she had too many lifestyle violations. And I think the reason why we talk about this is twofold. One, it sucks because there's a chance that this girl is going to the best school in her area.
That's
because
true.
we underfund public schools like mad, especially in poorer communities. The Catholic school or Christian school in this case might be the very best opportunity you have for the best teachers around.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. That's true.
And it's a sad state of affairs. What we should do is fund the public schools. Betsy DeVos, of course, is not doing anything to help this at all.
It's amazing how billionaire Amway heirs don't make for the best secretaries of education.
And they don't care so much about the little guy, it turns out. They'd rather just sell him Amway.
So weird. We're going to learn about the pyramids. No, we're not.
Yeah, you can't say that here. We don't allow you to say the word pyramid.
Okay. So anyway, in Egypt, there's the network marketing tombs.
But the other thing is that it might be the best school nearby, but it also makes us think this should be something that we stop from going into public schools. We constantly want to try to stop public schools from getting even remotely religious because we're afraid of things like this. Something like this could happen. First you put up the 10 commandments. Then what happens? Then what happens? Then what happens? Three steps down the road, we have lifestyle violations.
Yeah, this is like the same kind of shit they do at like places like BYU, right?
Yeah.
Like where they decide what kind of person you're allowed to be.
Right.
It's so funny, like how many people are like, you know what I don't want? No, I don't want the government stepping in, telling me what to do. I want my church to do it because by gum, that's different. What the fuck?
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what is like, seriously, like this is a girl who's like, yeah, I took a picture on my private Facebook. Well, nothing on fucking Facebook is private. Somebody screenshot that shit, sent it to the principal.
Unbelievable.
You're expelled. And even after appealing the decision, all the school said was, tell you what, we'll change it from an expulsion to like a voluntary
withdrawal.
Yep. Which I mean, you don't have an expulsion from school on your fucking public record or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I do want to say something to all those students out there. And I mean this. None of this fucking matters.
Yeah.
It all feels a whole lot like it matters because you're like in it right
You're
now.
in it.
You're in it. You're surrounded
living.
by it. Look, there's a forest outside your trees.
Oh my gosh.
None of this matters. There's no such thing as your public record. It's not a thing that follows you around for the rest of your life. I work for a Fortune 300 company. I hire a lot of people. I don't check people's educational references. It's not a thing. I don't know how well somebody did in high school. I have no fucking idea. It matters if you're trying to get into the Ivy League or something.
Sure.
Outside of that, for the rest of all of the rest of us,
and
you're going to be okay. There's 100 wonderful ways to go out into the world and to be okay and to leave the fucking trauma of your high school bullshit behind. And it does not follow you into the real world. You can walk away from it like that.
Hey, not just the trauma that these types of people, but even just the trauma that happens in high school itself. I can't even remember it.
Yeah.
I can't even remember the times that I was made fun of or bullied or any of that. I forgot about it.
None of it. Like there are times in high school, and like I know you felt this. I felt this. Everybody feels. It's like a universal experience. Sure. Like there are times in high school where this thing happens, and like your fucking blood rushes to your face, and you're just so fucking embarrassed. Yeah. And it's like
bent over and farted.
Oh my God.
In front of the whole class.
Did you ever get pantsed?
No, I never got pantsed.
I remember like I was in like 8th grade. And that was like a thing people did. Is it a thing people did in your school? Like they like run
it happened on occasion. Sure. Yeah.
They pants you, right? And I remember I got pantsed. And I remember how incredibly embarrassed I was. And I know that being pantsed was it was a thing our people did in our high school, in our junior high rather. And what's funny is when I look back, the only one I remember being pantsed is me.
Yeah. You don't remember anybody else?
Yeah. And nobody else remembers me.
Yeah.
And that is universally true.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit.
Yeah.
None of it has any lasting impact unless you bring it with you.
Yeah.
Because nobody else remembers.
Sure.
What? It's not even scratch and sniff. But if rich people think it's good, I'll buy it. 1 art, please.
What a clever impersonation of a stupid, poor person. How much is that placemat actually worth, Brannigan?
Exactly $1 billion.
Now that's walking around money.
So this next story comes from Business Insider. Weirdly enough, Business Insider from Australia. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said cheering for soaring stock prices while wages stay low is inequality in a nutshell. Business Insider, check this out. They made some charts, Cecil, which we're going to talk about because nothing is better on an auditory medium than a visual representation of a truth. Nonetheless, I think we can describe it pretty well.
And I think you should go check out the show notes so you could see this story because it's important to see these things. When we scrolled past these earlier when we were doing our show prep, Tom hadn't seen the story yet, and he was blown away by the discrepancies and by just by the sheer weight of one side of this graph.
You know, and we'll tell you about it, but you know, to Cecil's point, like, I mean, just seeing some of these things is like, wow, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like, so let's talk about
Let's start the conversation by saying Of course, right? I think this is a pretty easy comment to make about the whole thing.
Right.
We've been talking about this for a while. Stock market does not show a trend in the rest of the economy.
Right.
It shows how well stocks are doing. It shows how well very rich people mostly are doing.
Right. Yeah. So I don't, the when I say the wealth, I don't mean I actually have any wealth, but like my net worth my financial net worth, I'm trying to think of what percentage of that might be tied to the stock market. And I don't want to speak for anybody else, but for me, the only value I have in stocks is in my 401k. I have no stocks.
Me too.
That's all personally purchased.
I have a retirement account as well, and that retirement account is fed by both me and my work.
Right.
And slowly, trust me, very fucking slowly, because I don't make a lot of money. So it's very slowly fed, but it purchases types of stocks and sells them, I guess, then buys them and sells them and invests in some and then just divests in others, and I make money somehow.
Yeah. Well, or sometimes you lose, right?
Yeah.
And it's over time.
Yeah.
But when I'm thinking about it, like, I know that my contribution is 3%. So, and my employer contributes, they match up to 3%, which is why I contribute 3%.
Sure.
So 6% of my yearly financial value is tied to the stock market in some way. And that's a tiny, minuscule percentage that I don't get to access until I'm old.
Until you're old. Yeah.
My spending power as a consumer is in no way, my spending decisions are in no way influenced by this.
Don't even think about it.
So
why would you?
I can't access this money without paying big penalties and fees. So
I have accessed some of it in the past when I bought my house.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I could leverage a little bit for a down payment. And so I did. And I had to pay fees on it and then also pay interest on some of this stuff because I took out a loan.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny. You borrow money from yourself.
money from yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you pay interest
back against to who? Nobody, because it's a company that just manages it somehow. And then they bleeded me for interest.
Yeah. The whole thing is kind of insane.
Yeah.
But like that, and we are, and I'll say that, like, we are super fucking lucky even to have a 401k or an IRA of some kind. Like, and it's still single digit percentages of your net worth.
Yeah. It's tiny. It's tiny amount. But the people at the top have a lot of money invested in this. And many of the people who get paid lots and lots and lots of money from these large corporations, that's the money that they get paid in, and that's where their wealth is.
Right. Yes. And
that's where their wealth. When you talk about Jeff Bezos, he doesn't have a big fucking vault with $800 billion in it or whatever he has.
Right. He's like
$108 billion.
That guy's net worth is tied directly to the value of his shares in his company, not his paycheck.
Yeah.
Like you and I build wealth through my paycheck. Like my assets as a person walking around in the world, it's tied to my fucking biweekly paycheck.
Yeah.
Every other Friday, I get my paycheck and I'm just like, oh God, I need this so much.
Thank God.
Right.
Yeah, it's like Zelda when you finally catch that fairy and it fills your fucking hearts up. Yeah.
That's how it is for most everybody in the country. Nearly all of us.
Yeah.
But there's a tiny fraction of people at the very top that almost all of their money comes from investment income.
Yep.
So when you look at, and this Business Insider illustrates this very well, when you look at the share of Americans who own stocks, and they calculate that by the net worth of Americans, if you're in the 90th to 100th percentile, 51% of those people have stocks.
Yeah.
If you're in the 75th to 89th percentile, 25% of those people have stocks.
So the top 25% of America
75%
has 75% of the stocks. Yeah.
75% of all the stock is concentrated in 25% of the people.
Yeah.
So you cannot have a stock market which drives wealth to the majority.
Yeah.
Because 75% of people have 21% of the stock.
Yeah. 21,
it's minuscule.
Yeah, it's a tiny amount.
If you're in the bottom quarter of wealth, the amount that you've got in stock holdings is $1,700.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's not a retirement account.
That's for the bottom quarter.
That's not on
average, right?
You can't retire on $1,700.
$1,700?
Yeah.
What the fuck are you going to do? I don't care if you retired to fucking Vietnam. Like, you're not.
I don't care where you retire to. There's no place on earth that's $1,700 unless it's 30 seconds before a nuclear detonation.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. That will maybe buy you a plane ticket to die somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
But if you're in the 90th to 100th percentile, and this is really the most telling, your value of stock holdings is 200 grand, right?
Yeah.
Step that down one level and it drops by almost 90%. So the 75th to 89th percentile, $28,000
$28,000 in stocks. You should see this. You should see this graph. You should just see this graph, just to look at it, just to see it. And what does it tell you about the concentration of wealth? Is that the stock market prices for the normal Joe don't mean anything.
They don't mean shit.
They don't mean anything.
Hey man, you got a couple grand in stocks. They went up 3% today. How do you feel? Well, I don't fucking know. That's a Kit Kat.
Yeah.
That's a Kit Kat when I'm 70.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
I don't even get it now.
Right.
Yeah.
Like when you're 70, you got a Kit Kat. Oh, okay. Fuck me. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm dying fucking working at this garbage factory all the time.
Yeah.
I don't even know why there is a garbage factory.
Why am I working there?
Value of retirement accounts by net worth also just wow. If you're in the top 10%, the value of a retirement account, $630,000. The next 75 to 90%, 198, a third, a little less than a third.
And the next one, the next percentile, which is 50 to 75, it's down to 50,000 in your retirement account. All it does, all these graphs do is reinforce that the people at the very top are the ones that own stocks and care about the stock market. And when the stock market's doing well, they're doing well, and they gain more wealth. And that's all it means. That's it. And there's plenty of people right now, even bullish people, are saying we're in an area right now where a crash could be pretty dramatic for the nation. Yeah. And they're thinking a crash is coming.
And I just read something that the Fed is talking about 3 rate drops next year. 3 rate drops. If the Fed drops rates 3 times to avoid recession, and we have a cyclical boom and bust cycle in our economy, I guess all things would be cyclical if they have a cycle, but what the fuck are we going to do when we do have a recession?
When you finally have to pay,
you're not going to have any tools.
When you got to pay, when you finally have to pay up, you're going to be, the bill's not going to be great.
Right.
Let me tell you, you're going to look at it.
I'm going to borrow from one credit card to pay my other card. Oh, God, that got worse.
I don't know if I told this story on the air, but I love this story. I was on my first cruise with my wife. We took a honeymoon cruise, but we had to take it 6 months after we got married because we were poor. Yeah. And so we decided to take the cruise. 2 weeks before we go on the cruise, my wife loses her job.
I remember that.
And so we decided we're only going to do 2 drinks a night if we're going to have a drink, because drinks are not free on cruises. So you have to pay it for them. So I decided, you know what? I don't want to not drink and I don't want to not have fun, but we can't just spend a lot of money, because drinks are like what it would cost in Chicago for a drink.
Oh, wow. So
it's expensive.
Yeah, right.
You buy a bottle of beer, it's an $8 bottle of beer, $6 to $8 bottle of beer. You buy a mixed drink, it's a $12 mixed drink. If I got a scotch, which was what I was drinking back then, if I got a scotch neat, it was between $15 and $18 for that scotch.
Wow, yeah.
So it's a high-end bar in Chicago.
Right.
And so we decided we weren't going to do this. 4 a.m., the middle of the week, they go around the cruise ship and they slide because you don't have cash on a cruise ship. So you don't walk up with a cash. I don't just walk up to the bar and say, here's $50. I can't do that. They won't accept cash. They don't even accept it.
Right.
What you have to do is walk up and say, here's my room key. And then they charge it to your room. And they do this so that you never have really a running total of how much you're charging. They do it so that they can obfuscate the running total. Right. So you spend more money because you think, here's this thing and I don't have any repercussions right now. I have to worry about that in the future. And future self might be fucked, but I don't care because current self is having a blast.
Yeah. I might not live till next week.
Exactly.
At the rate I'm drinking, that's a distinct possibility.
Exactly. So you put it on your room key. Middle of the week, they come around with a sort of tally that says, hey, you're at X amount of dollars right now. They give you a midweek, and this was a while ago. This was in 2000 when we got married. So it was in 2000 when we took the cruise. So back then it was all printable. You might have an app or something for it now, or a TV might be able to show you what it was. But back then it was not available. You just couldn't just look it up. So they would come around with these printed out papers. 4 a.m, they deliver them. 4:15, I get a call. I don't know anybody on the cruise ship.
Oh, shit.
Know anybody?
4:15 in the morning.
I answer the call.
Yeah, right.
Hello. This is what I hear. Dude. I got my bill, bro. And I said, huh? Man, I got my bill for this week for half of the week, dude. And I said, you have the wrong number. And he said, I do have the wrong number. And he hung up. But one person on that boat was genuinely fucked. Genuinely fucked by it.
Tommy, where are you from?
New Orleans.
Oh no, like originally.
Yeah, that one, you know, Louisiana.
Okay. The accent threw me off.
What accent?
Cecil, we talked about this a little bit before the show. You sent me these stories. We listened to The Daily, which is a great New York Times podcast. If you're not listening to it, you might want to give it a shot. A quick recap. 2016, Russia meddled in the goddamn elections.
100% did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We don't get to have a conversation called if that happened or maybe what.
We don't get to have the it's a hoax conversation.
No.
Because it's a true thing that happened.
Right. Yeah. And, when hostile foreign countries are able to influence who drives, who's in control, they're manipulating your future. They're manipulating the policies that dictate your future, that dictate like who's beholden to who, what you're going to get in terms of a foreign policy, all that kind of shit. And man, 2020, like it's not like we learned a lesson. This is the point of these stories. 2 New York Times stories we're going to go over. We clearly did not learn a lesson. So I guess like what I want to say before we start is fucking grab your ankles and hold on.
Yeah.
Because we didn't fix it.
Nope.
And it's about to get much worse.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we don't care. But if you don't care enough to fucking vote.
Yeah.
So New York Times, chaos is the point. Russian hackers and trolls grow stealthier in 2020. So bottom line of this article, it's a very long article. Yeah. Bottom line of this article is Russia is employing similar tactics to what they used in 2016 because those tactics were successful.
Yeah.
But they have since refined many of those tactics and they have added. It's a multi-pronged approach now, right?
And they also, there was ways to check up on these people because they had infiltrated some of the electronic spaces that these people were in. And those people have gone stealthy. They've gotten out of those things and gone to higher encryption places on the internet and modes of communication. And now we are literally in the dark about one of these agencies. I don't remember if it was like fucking Glitter Bear or
they got
Punky
crazy
Bear
like names like
Big
Stink and like Little Fish and like all this.
Well, it was a lot of Care Bear references.
It was like bear stuff because it's Russian, right?
Yeah,
so
bears.
It was Fuzzy Bear.
Yeah. Fuzzy Bear and Cuddly Bear, or
something.
Huggy Bear, or Snuggle Bear. But they went under. They've essentially disappeared. They're off the grid now, so nobody has any real tabs on them.
Right. Yeah. And they were being tracked. So they were being tracked by government watchdog agencies, basically our security agencies, the NSA, the FBI. We're not talking about like, well, golly, Tom doesn't know where they went. Who cares? Like the NSA doesn't know where they went, right? But the answer is not away.
Yeah.
The answer isn't like, well, guys, close up shop. I guess we're Russia and we don't want to infiltrate we don't want to destroy fundamentally America's democracy from the inside out and watch it crumble into a state of divisive chaos because, oh no, we suddenly decided that wasn't nice.
We all got tour guide jobs instead. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? It turns out I am going to show some nice people the Winter Palace.
I also speak American, so can show you Winter Palace. Go. I want to talk for a second about a while back. Do you remember when we first heard of Anonymous, you and I? Do you remember when we first?
Yeah, God, years ago.
It was years ago when they came on the scene. And I remember the conversation that we had about it because they were leaking, Anonymous was leaking documents that were beneficial to
our point of view. Yeah.
And I remember the conversation that we had was, one, I don't like this because it's illegal and I don't like the feeling of this leaking of documents. I think it's sneaky and gross. While I certainly agree with the things that are coming out and want to see some of those things come to light, I think that the way in which you get them does matter. But the other thing I remember saying to you was, I don't know if I believe them. They're just a random person who found something and now they're leaking it to me. How do I know they didn't alter it? How do I know they didn't change it up?
Right.
How do I know that they are not lying to me?
Okay, I think it's fair to say, though, that you can trust people who steal to tell you the
especially if they're from a different government that is actively trying to
check up on them,
hurt you. Yeah,
maybe not.
And so I don't even know at this point, because one of the things about the other story this is in conjunction with is that the Russians hacked into Burisma, the place where they're trying to get the dirt on Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden.
Yep.
So they're trying to find, so the Russians hacked into that. They did a phishing scam,
right?
A very sophisticated phishing scam, which is how they got Podesta back in the day. They did a sophisticated phishing scam and they got into Burisma. How do you know what's true, right? How do you know?
Yeah, right.
And they could,
it's
they
the
could
chain of evidence question.
They can leak whatever they want.
Yeah. There's a reason that like the chain of evidence has to remain unbroken in order for it to be presentable at trial, right?
Yeah.
And that's because if you don't have an unbroken chain of evidence, you don't know at what point that evidence has been manipulated. And so it becomes untrustworthy to be presented when things matter. The problem here is like, things don't matter anymore. Like truth doesn't matter in the same way that truth used to matter.
Yeah.
Like what matters is like getting people to shift a little. And what the Russians and like the trolls have become very good at, they're not trying to get everybody to pivot all at the same time. They're not trying to get everybody to pivot in the same way on the same things. It's just that if everybody pivots just a little today,
just a touch,
and just a little tomorrow, and they just keep moving that forward. One of the things that I think was really telling from the first article is that chaos is the goal, right?
Yeah.
So if you are the enemy of the United States and you want to subvert and control and exert control over your enemy, one of the things that you're going to do is you're going to create a tremendous amount of chaos and divisiveness.
Yeah.
Because the more we're fighting with each other, the less rational we are, the less connected, socially united, empathetic.
Sure.
And that's happening, man. Like we don't have much of a cohesive society anymore. Like, I don't think that we do. Like when I think about like, what does America mean? That's a harder question to answer now than it used to be.
Sure.
And we don't care about whether things are true anymore the same way we used to care about whether things are true.
Sure.
That's the direct result of a lot of this interference.
Yeah.
And it's getting worse, and they're getting better at doing it. And even as we know they're doing it, we're letting them.
Yeah.
Like there's legislation sitting on Mitch McConnell's desk right now that would fund a lot of systems to beef up the security for our election results. And it's just going to sit and languish on his desk, and we're not going to spend the money. And like Facebook is the primary tool that's being used by these bots, by these trolls, by these hackers to influence American perception of the world. And Facebook has come out and said, I'm not going to do anything.
I don't give a fuck.
I'm not going to change any of I'm not going to make any significant changes to our security policies, to our vetting.
Yeah.
Because it's not in the interest of our bottom line. So like our democracy is being taken from us by a hostile foreign actor. And we're just looking at each other like, fuck us, comrade.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Now I talk like this and drink vodka. What has happened?
To your point, I will say that Trump has actively encouraged other governments to do this. He's winked and nudged when he told Vladimir Putin not to meddle. Not to meddle in our election. He's asked other people to look into this. He specifically asked China and Russia to look into the Ukraine. He specifically asked them to do it.
He stood on TV and was
on TV on the fucking lawn with his helicopter fucking whopping around behind him.
Well, we have to get to a place. It's so frustrating, Cecil, because like I don't know how to make this matter, but it does matter. And if it doesn't matter enough to get people to do the one thing that they can do that will matter, which is to turn out and vote, like we are letting, like, let's be clear. Like, if you don't vote, you are letting fucking old, shitty people decide the fate of your world. Yeah. Like, the fate of the world rests power-wise, demographically, it rests in the hands of young people who will not, through apathy, wrest it from the hands of the people who are fucking you right now. You are getting fucked by these people, and all you got to do is show up and kick these fuckers out. Yeah. Mitch McConnell does not have a fucking lifetime appointment to the goddamn Senate. He's up for re-election this year.
This year.
Like, there are more young people in fucking Kentucky than there are old people. If you don't like him, you can show up and kick his ass out, and then maybe we can get something done.
I think you have to vote. I think that's absolutely true. I think one of the things that this is trying to do is make us paranoid. And it's succeeding.
Yeah.
Because it's similar to if you had a dog and you just hit it a bunch of times, and then you lift your hand to it and you don't hit it, but it still flinches.
Right.
We're in the same position. We're still flinching. We're flinching every time. There was a part
you get hit in the arm twice because you get 2 for the fucking flinching.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's a slug bug that comes by.
God damn, your arm's sore for a week. Then you got a flu shot.
Yeah.
Same arm.
I got a tetanus shot this week. Hurt like a motherfucker for 3 days. But no, this article and in the podcast, they talk specifically about a place where there was weird voting shit going on.
Yeah.
People were cleared from the voting rolls. Why were they cleared from the voting rolls? What the hell happened? Why is this happening? Is this Russian interference? And then they come across and there's some clear suspicion where people are running about being like, are they actually hacking into us? Is this right? Are they ruining our system? And then they find out, no, it wasn't nefarious at all. It was just clerical error problems. But we're so worried about it and so hypersensitive to it that we're freaking out about it all the time. And that is not good. We're not in a good position. And we wouldn't have to worry. All we'd have to do is we wouldn't have to worry as much if there was someone paying attention and trying to stop it. If we could rely on the government a little to try to be our firewall.
Yeah.
But instead they're not. They're not doing that.
China has total respect for Donald Trump's very, very large brain. They call her Pocahontas.
I am the chosen one.
You are fake news. Okay. I am the least racist person.
Look at my African American over here. Look at him.
To come her, grab him by the pussy, stop it.
So this week in Trump, besides Trump not giving up on the dishwasher speech, I don't know if you saw his other speech in Milwaukee where he brought up dishwashers again.
Oh, God. Really?
Yeah, he brought up dishwashers and toilets and low flow shower heads. I don't
does
understand.
This get cheers from people? Like, it's in your house.
Okay.
Put a different thing in.
Hold on. When you say did it get cheers,
God. Cecil.
Let's listen to it real quick.
I don't want to because then I'll hear it.
Let's listen to it real quick.
But I'm also approving new dishwashers that give you more water.
Hold on. I'm sorry, Cecil. He's approving the dishwashers now? Does the president have to put his fucking seal of approval on dishwashers? Would it be awesome if he put his weird scrawl fucking handwriting on each one or had a stamp that had his weird, crazy, pointy... Do you remember? Yeah, his fucking crazy signature. You're like, writes it. Do you remember like when you were in like school and there was like the presidential fitness challenge? You had to do like some pull-ups, like run,
vaguely,
like a sit and reach.
Yeah, vaguely.
First of all, I would love to see this guy do it. Like nothing in the whole world would make me happier than watching Trump try to do one pull-up.
Watching him try to do anything. Anything physical. Doesn't matter.
I would pay all the money I will ever make in my life. I will live in a cardboard box outside to watch him do one pull-up. It would be amazing. But like, can you imagine if he had to put like his fucking presidential seal? You're like, Bosch dish. It's got the seal. It's got the president, the energy star.
The energy stars next to the presidential seal. It's got the big eagle on it. Going, that's not a sound eagles make. That's like a crow sound.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny.
Anyway, here we go.
Got to approve dishwashers.
He's got to approve the dishwasher.
That give you more water so you can actually wash and rinse your dishes without having to do it 10 times. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Look at him. Eat it up. He's like, yeah, cheer. I can't believe people are cheering for this.
And they're going bonkers for it. They're going bonkers for it.
Do you own a dishwasher?
I do.
How many times to wash your dishes? How many times do you run your dishes through the cleaning cycle?
A single time.
Okay.
And I use the economy mode every single time.
Okay, but hold on. What if your dishes were dirty when you put them in?
Yeah.
Because maybe I wasn't clear.
I'm not talking
dishes.
They're dirty every time.
Are you one of those people that like washes your dishes?
They're really dirty too, because I am dirty with my dishes.
Yeah, like I fuck the dishes.
Look at you dishes. Look at you. You want me to choke you a little, don't you?
I like if I have to run something through twice, I'm real mad about it. Like every once in a while, I'm pissy.
I could imagine.
I'm like, oh, fuck you.
I could imagine.
Fuck you.
You know the worst.
Like I'm mad about it enough that I'll think about throwing it away and buying a new one.
What's the worst thing you put in there that you have to run through twice all the time? Because I already have an answer for me.
A glass that a smoothie was in that wasn't rinsed out. That's
the worst for you?
That's the worst, yeah.
For me, cat food. Cat food dishes, when we put those in the thing, if there's, because cats don't eat like fucking humans, assholes that they are. We feed the cats kibble, right? So they have kibble sitting out, and our one cat rage eats all the time, so he's getting huge. But the other one doesn't. We have a Siamese. We have 2 Siamese. One thick boy. He's a thick boy with a C. And then the other one is a skinny mini. He's a tiny thing. Right. And he'll go by and nibble once in a while. But the other one just comes by and eats his feelings all the time. but where are you? But we feed them regular wet food 2 times a day. And so when you give it to them in the morning, they eat a little bit of it, but they don't fucking munch the shit. And then you leave and go to work, and then you come home, and there's still a tiny bit in there, but it's been out all day, so it's essentially part of the bowl. Right? I know, it's not a separate thing. Yeah. Its molecules have molded into the bowl, and so I don't care how long you soak it.
Turns into crazy glue.
I don't care how long you soak it. I don't care if you get a jackhammer out. I don't care if you throw the fucking dish out the window. It's never coming out. It's never. And so I have to wash those things 3 times. And even if I soak them or whatever, it's still whatever they put in that glue they ever put in that cat food.
Cat food is seriously, it's made of fucking crazy glue and anger.
It's the worst.
Just finish your fucking meal because you're
just eat it. You know, like if you lick the bowl clean, I wouldn't have this problem.
Why are you begging me for it? Why are you like, oh, meow, meow, rub, meow, 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 feed me some food? You're like, okay, fuck, I'll feed you some food even though I'm tired and I don't really care about it. Feed you food. And then it's like, yeah, fuck. I'm not going to eat the whole thing.
Do your cats get pissed off when they could see the bottom of the bowl? Because my cats will meow like crazy if they could see the bottom. There can be food all the way around the edge of the bowl.
They act like they're fucking starving
and they're just like, oh my God, I'm going to die right now.
I have 3 cats and we have like the kibble trough and it's enormous.
Kibble trough?
It's enormous. It holds, I don't know exactly the amount. I think it holds something like 70 or 80 gallons of kibble. Like it holds so much of that shit.
You have a pipeline directly from Friskies that just feeds it.
And like if it's like lower than they fucking, I don't know, expect it somehow and they're tiny cats.
Right, exactly.
They're just, first they'll stop eating it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not eating the bottom of that.
Yeah,
bowl.
I don't
fuck
I
you.
don't eat the fucking bottom.
Wait, I mean,
yeah.
I am a cat. You're like, yeah, you're a cat. You're a cat. You're not people. They won't eat they won't eat all of it. And then they're like, I got no food. And you're like, there's so much food.
So we got to get back to This Week in Trump.
All right.
3 main stories. Giuliani associate Parnas says Trump knew exactly what was going on. And there was some weird, he did an interview with Rachel Maddow. There was some weird text messages that went on with Lev Parnas and some other people that seemed very hitmanish. But in the interview, he said, oh no, that person is always drunk.
Yeah, Richard Hyde. Yeah. Richard Hyde, like, the excuse was like, that guy?
Oh, he's a fucking, he's an alcoholic.
41-year-old man who's like, like, all of his friends are like, that guy?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That
guy's wasted.
Who's
all
still
time.
40 and that's what your friends are saying about you?
Keith. So
He'll never live to 40.
So, but Lev Parnas is flipping on everybody, saying all this stuff. And one of the things that came out about him was the State Department said something, or this. It was maybe the press secretary said this. He's on bail for a federal felony right now, so he'll say anything. And I'm thinking, you associate yourself with so many people on bail.
I know.
At some point, shouldn't we all just look around and be, you associate with a lot of people on bail?
Yeah.
They wouldn't just be on bail just for no reason.
Pop quiz, hotshot. How many of your friends right now are awaiting sentencing?
Yeah, exactly.
Because like none of my friends right now are awaiting sentencing.
I know.
And you know how many times I've been able to say that? All of my life.
Exactly. Also, Nancy Pelosi, in the gamble that it was to withhold the impeachment for Trump in the House, it turns out that it played in her favor because just more shit came out.
Right, yeah, shit. So this is great because, there was a lot of stuff like, oh, Mitch McConnell won because Mitch McConnell didn't give, right? Yeah. And so the initial ask, I think, was that McConnell was going to give in to Pelosi's request to have, witnesses called, et cetera, to help, to be a part of the managing of the trial process. And McConnell was like, turtle, no. Yeah. And so, because that's all he ever says. I will win the race if I don't do anything at all. Mitch McConnell. Hello, everybody. So fucking McConnell won, except for that by delaying it, like you said, like the story just keeps getting
worse and worse.
So now when it goes to the Senate, when the Senate finally gets all their rules and they get ready to start, they've got so much more public shit to contend with.
And they didn't want to call new witnesses, but now that a lot of this stuff is coming forward, they may have to.
Right. Or face the political consequences of a kangaroo court.
Yeah. And in particular, a watchdog group that pays attention to these things said that the Trump administration broke the law when they were withholding aid from Ukraine. This is a watchdog group called the Government Accountability Office. And they said when he withheld the $400 million this past summer, the fund, he should have run it past Congress. Right. Because if he withholds those funds, that's on him. He's not allowed to just do that. And it's funny because one, this watchdog group is not, they can't do anything to him. They can only just call it out. And the people that they're calling it out to, those are the people in charge and they don't care. And this is not the first time he's done this. He's done it. This will be the third time he's broken this law.
My favorite thing in the world is that we have a federal agency, which is the GAO, which is the Government Accountability Office, that cannot hold people accountable for anything. There is no actual accountability.
That's so true.
That's the second word in the title of your agency. This is a federal agency. It's not some reporter who's like, well, it turns out this is digging. This is a government agency called the Accountability Office, holding them to account. And they're basically like, okay, but I did say not it, and I crossed my fingers.
Yeah. I ain't fighting that dude. You go fight that dude.
Right.
That's exactly it.
It's so crazy. They're like, you can't do that. Government said that money was for this purpose. You don't have the authority to withhold it. And Trump's just like, okay, counterpoint, I did that. And it's his third time where he's like, counterpoint, no.
The worst part is that all the watchdogs and all the people that we thought that there was some teeth behind any of these things that we thought would be against the law, right, or breaking of severe tradition or just sullying the office. We thought for sure that there's no way that could happen. But it has happened so many times that it is pointed out that the government is inherently flawed and cannot fix these problems. It does not have the power to fix these problems right now. The only way to do it would be to elect an entirely democratic group of people, and then they would have to limit their own power.
There's a sense that nobody can come into your house and poop in your living room.
Yeah.
Right. But if your cousin shows up and poops in your living room, you're just going to be real surprised. Yeah. And just because your cousin never shit in your living room up until yesterday doesn't change the fact that hey man, your cousin could shit in your living room.
I'm so glad I don't know my extended family.
This is Edward Zoll with the True News Special Report. Would you believe that there's an active attempt to mainstream pedophilia and sexualize children through one of America's most popular cartoons? You're about to be shocked by what we've uncovered. Rick and Morty, how much longer are we going to tolerate this darkness in America? And more importantly, how much longer will God? With this True News Special Report, I am Edward Zoll.
So this story comes from Deseret News. A bill requiring clergy to report child abuse confessions opposed by Utah Catholics, House Speaker. So this is kind of very much what it sounds like, but I do want to go through what they said. So they gave some reasoning in this article. So here's how this should work, right? Some human tells another human, hey, I fuck kids. And there should be a fucking responsibility by the person who just heard that to be like, oh, I call police.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because there is no other possibility for a moral action, right? Like, you cannot find out that somebody is a goddamn pedophile and be like, well, I'm really in a quandary about whether or not I should let the authorities know. Like, it's a simple solution.
Well, and if you are saying that, if you're saying we think this is holy, let me just read part of this because there's part of this is important. In the statement, the Catholic Diocese of Salt Lake City urges Utah Catholics to ask state legislators to oppose the bill, quote, that forces individuals to choose between their most sacred part of their religious beliefs and imprisonment. The very situation of the First Amendment was meant to protect against, end quote. And what that means is that they want to be able to handle this in-house.
Yeah.
They want to be able to handle, but here's the fucking rub. You haven't yet.
Right.
You fucking haven't yet. You've had all the opportunities to handle this, to nip this in the bud, to ostracize and excommunicate all kinds of kitty diddlers. You've had a parade. You've had a goddamn fucking stream of them for years, and you've done nothing but shift them around. And if they are part of your congregation, we have no idea because you've never told us, so we don't know. Maybe you can shame them with your religion to say, oh, you better go home and you better play with your fucking anal beads or whatever those fucking rosary things are. But there's no real repercussions for the actions that you take.
This is the religious version of, come on, baby, give me one more chance. I'll change, I promise.
Right? Exactly.
Like, I won't hit you again and again and again and again. It's unbelievable. Like, they're saying, like, look, we're in a moral quandary because, like, religiously, if somebody tells us something in confession that has to live in confession, that's wrong. That's morally wrong. You don't get to live in a world where that's morally the okay thing to do. They're saying, like, look, our religion forbids this. And I'm saying, like, there's no world where you can have a religion that has any moral justification to hide from authority.
Yeah.
People who abuse and hurt and damage other people. Because the next stage of that is that person who abused and hurts and damages other people is going to keep doing it. And I'm not guessing at this. There's a history of this thousands and thousands of times over.
Yeah.
We've run the numbers.
Yeah, we've looked at sites that have had not only, and this is talking about people that might be part of the congregation, right? But make no mistake, this is also to protect the people at the top.
Right.
This is specifically for that too. It's not just, they're trying to make it out like, oh, you guys should contact your congressman so we won't tell on you if you fuck a kid or whatever.
Right.
But they are definitely trying to cover their own ass because that's how these priests keep in contact with each other. They go to confession and do this stuff.
What baffles me is, like, most people have kids. Most people have. So, like, and I think about, like, my world, it's like, well, you know, I really wish that, like, if we fucked a kid, you wouldn't say anything about it. Can you vote on that for me?
Yeah.
I'm like, why would you say that out loud unless you're into, like, why? What the fucking no? Just don't ever do that. I don't need to be protected in Like, I'll say this, like, there are times when I've told people things in confidence, right?
Yeah.
I have certainly told you things in confidence, right? But I have never told you anything in confidence where you have had a moral quandary.
Yeah, where I've had to look at myself in the mirror and say, should I call the police on Tom?
Right. There's never been
a moment.
Like, and you know, because I'm not awful.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I'm not sure what to do. Sometimes I've made mistakes.
Sure.
But, like, I am never in a position where I need to hide a moral failing that hurts other people.
Yeah. You know, what this says to me is, and this should say this to everybody out there who's a thinking person. So if you're on the fence, I don't think you'd be listening to our show if you're on the fence. But if you are on the fence about religion, just because something is religious doesn't mean it's legal or moral.
Right.
It does not mean those things. Legal doesn't necessarily mean moral. But clearly here, just because something's religious doesn't mean it's moral. And this is a clear evidence that religion is in many cases immoral.
What is your secret to sexual success, Kerry?
Well, I learned to play the guitar, Jim.
Thank you, Kerry, King of Slayer. And there you have it, incels. You're not entitled to sex. If you want it, learn a skill, get a haircut, or just be nice, you fucking limp dick trolls.
This story comes from the dailymail.com, which I love using the Daily Mail.
Yeah, don't even have to bother doing
I'm just going to
else.
go ahead and read the headline to summarize the article for you guys. Headline, Texas officials call incels an emerging domestic terrorist threat and warn of a possible rebellion by involuntary celibate men spurred on by their perceived rejection by women.
The good thing, though, is it's a one generation about rebellion.
Right?
The rebellion ends.
Oh, the
with them.
sons of the incel army shall. Oh boy. Yeah. All right. That didn't work. I love the idea too that like it's like the incels in their army of one because they're lonely.
Yeah.
You know? Just
it's an old army. They're just wearing old army gear because they were an army of one back in the day.
All right, so we should go ahead and read the subheadings. It'd be irresponsible not to. This study conducted by the Texas Department of Public Safety looked at the domestic terrorism impacting the state and the country at large. Most domestic terrorism in the state falls under racially motivated, anti-government, and single issue. I read that and I thought like, well, it is Texas.
Yeah.
You know, like who's surprised that most of the terrorism in Texas is racially
And I mean,
motivated?
let's be real honest. You got to be a single issue terrorist these days. That's the key.
You got to be a single issue Texan these days. Like you think most Texans can hold two ideas in their head at the same time? If they could, they would leave Texas. Holy shit, I can multitask. Well, that means I can pack the car and get a map.
Yeah, and hit the gas pedal.
Right.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Study specifically mentions incels, Brian Isaac Clyde, Scott Paul, Alec Christopher Harper Mercer, and Elliot Rodger. While most single-issue actors are known for attacking property, thought that was weird, the study noted that incels are one of the few groups that this isn't always the case. And I would say that the incels would argue with that. They would say women are property, and that's who they're attacking. They are property, but they're all upset that they can't buy one.
I want to say, or just get given one,
right?
Because they
don't even want to.
They don't want to put any of the work in to do it.
To have someone
one,
love them.
To have one, some love them. To be lovable,
right?
To be someone worthy of love, right? Because what these people don't understand, and you know, you got to think about it just for 2 seconds. If you're in a and especially people in a relationship know this. Every relationship is a two-way street. You have to be both lovable and loving in your relationship. You know, people miss that.
Right.
They genuinely miss it. And they think, I deserve this. I deserve to be loved. No, you have to make yourself worthy of love.
Right.
That's just fucking true. And it may be obvious. But some people, clearly there's a whole group of people out there who are misses. It completely misses. They don't think they need to work to be loved.
Yep.
You have to work all the time. Try to be nice.
Yeah, it's not obvious though. Like, because like you go online, you can read thread after thread where it's not obvious, and there's this sense that like people, there's this new sense that I see when I read shit online and threads on and what have you, where it's like, well, I deserve to be loved for who I am. And who I am is slovenly and unpleasant and like mean-spirited.
And mean.
So, but I still deserve to have somebody in my life because that's what I want. And if I don't have it, then like anything they don't have, they resent other people for having. It is a fucked up, toxic bullshit culture. It's like, you like to your point, like you don't deserve to have someone if you don't do the work to be deserving of someone.
Sure, absolutely.
Like, nobody wakes up. Nobody, no matter how, nobody wakes up and like is obligated to look at you and go to bed with you that same night. Like every day you got to work for it. And these guys are just like, well, I shouldn't have to do anything. Somebody should love me for who I am. Not if who you are is a bad person. You know, not if who you are is mean and unpleasant and shitty and using.
And what's crazy about this is that they all hold the same ideals, which are all very strange and very culty. And their ideas are that a woman is, if she's not a virgin, she's a waste. Right, she's essentially a wasted human being. She's given herself up to someone else and she's now stretched out and used. She can't be trusted anymore. They have to, and a lot of these people actually are like pedophiles. If you read some of the stuff, they say, yeah, I wouldn't want to even go after anyone that's that's over 14 or things like
shit.
It's awful. There's a subreddit. It's a subreddit called Incels. And it's a subreddit that I happen to subscribe to because I was curious about the incel community, but I didn't want to subscribe to an incel board.
Right.
And what they do is they scour the incel boards for the worst and most horrible shit that these people say. And then they post it on this incel tiers thing. So you can, if you wanted to see some of the awful shit that they post, it's just clipped from the places. And some of the subreddits have been banned. So they've gone out of their way to just say, no, you can't even play here anymore. You're not even allowed to have a fucking Reddit, which is a low bar of communication.
That is a very low bar.
That's a low bar.
Right.
Space Sticks has a Reddit, guys. You can't even have a Reddit. So they kicked them off, and some of them are quarantined, and that means that I guess that they're being watched. I'm not quite sure exactly what quarantine means, but it doesn't matter for the case of the story. And one of them is called short cells. Short cells are for people who think that they're too short to date, and they think all women only love tall guys, and they get down on their own brain because they think only women, they say if you're under 6 foot, you're essentially worthless. And they think they're all worthless because they're like under 6 foot tall.
Any excuse to blame someone else for their failing to be likable, for their failing to be charming, for their failing to like be and do the things that would attract a mate. And I know too that like the incel community is often tied to the pickup artist community, to that PUA community, which is like,
I'm not familiar with that community.
So like I read this crazy article in the Times, I don't know, a week or so ago about like, so like the pickup artist community is a community of people who use a series of psychological tricks and manipulations, basically emotional abuse and gaslighting.
Jesus Christ.
To trick and abuse and capture women and make them, to sleep with them and to treat them poorly. And like people teach classes on how to do this. And there's books that are published on how to do this. And like, it turns out like in China, like we've exported this particularly noxious, toxic part of our culture to China. And I know too that like there's parts of the incel community that are tied to that pickup artist community because they're all tied to that misogyny, right? They're all connected to weird, broken ideas of a right to sexual access for a woman that is segregated from like an emotional connection to another human being. It's like, I should have access to fuck you, but I should not have to do anything to be connected with you. I have a right to your body, but I don't have to earn it in any way. All that shit is super fucked up.
You should want to have sex with me, but I shouldn't want to be emotional or have any of the other ties with you. I should just want to. We should just have. It should just be a hookup community.
We don't even need to have respect for each other.
Exactly.
Like it's just like I'm going to use your body to masturbate with.
Exactly. Yeah. You might as well buy a fuck doll.
Right. Exactly.
Buy a fuck doll.
Right.
Genuinely, seriously, if that's all you want out of a relationship and you want none of the other things, use your hand, get VR porn, fuck your own hand, go buy a fuck doll, fuck that. Nobody cares. You're going to get off, dude. It doesn't matter.
If that's the goal.
Yeah, if that's the goal. Hell, fuck doll might even smell better than a real ass. Go for it. You know what I mean? Like there's all kinds of bodily fluids that you got to deal with when you have sex with a real live boy. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you what, the moment you don't do that, all you got to do is pop that piece out and stick it in the dishwasher. Fucking, we're done.
You got to wash it once, twice, three.
That's what he was talking about. He put his fuckbot 2000 in there.
You wouldn't believe how many times I had to wash this.
Her legs up over her head, all weird. It's all fucking, her hips disjointed. I stuffed it in the fucking dishwasher. I pressed it once, twice, three
times.
Come on, crowd, give me a 5, 6, 7.
And that's how long I lasted fucking that sex doll.
He's never done anything 10 times. Are you kidding me? I want to talk too about this incel community too that I found online because it's disturbing. The things that they say are disturbing, and the way that they talk about women. Women don't in their minds. Women don't have emotions. Women don't have. They don't care about us. They don't care about us at all. And all they want is to have a baby. And it ranges from all they want to do is have a baby, or all they want to do is fuck chads. Those are that's where it ranges. And I guess that those two could easily intersect.
Right.
I mean, easily intersect. But that's their mindset. They think about this all the time.
Is there like a lot of like gold diggy stuff in there too?
They think, that's almost certainly in there too. It's a really weird, really crazy community. And I got to say, it's seriously one of the most toxic communities I've ever encountered. Now, I will read stuff on there sometimes and just gasp aloud and be like, I can't believe that someone would write something like this.
You know, one of the worst things about like kind of where we're at socially right now is like we're at a place where those people are able to find each other.
Yeah.
And not recognize, they don't have to contend with the fact that they're wrong, right? They can go into a space and connect with a whole bunch of other people that tell them that they're right about this, that this is how the world works. And then they're going to say, this is the experience I had today, and this is how I feel, and this is what I think. And a bunch of other people are going to say, that is true.
Yep.
That is right. And they're going to reinforce that. And like these like echo chamber micro communities look so much bigger than like the representation of the population that they are.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you look at this thing from the Daily Mail, even though it is from the Daily Mail, you know, it is possible for these people to connect with each other and to spread that toxicity.
Yeah.
And then to act on that toxicity. And for that toxicity to bleed into violent action in the real world. It's happened again and again and again. Yeah. That's a new thing we now have to contend with. Like horrible, poisonous, toxic ideas don't die in a vacuum anymore because there are no more ideological vacuums. All ideological vacuums are now ideological echo chambers. That's a weird space to be in now.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, this audio comes from our live stream from Thursday. Make sure you're checking out the live streams every Thursday at around 9 p.m. Central. Here we go.
Steve, that's answer number one. Answer number two is the bitch died and they've cloned her numerous times and we don't know who the fuck it is.
Okay. That's the worst cloning process in the history of ever. Because you create a clone of RGB and then she's just as old as she was before. So it's, oh, I'm so old. Oh, let me out of the cloning crash.
Kill me.
Oh,
Kill me.
oh, I'm so old. I have every pain I had before I was cloned. This is the worst process that's ever happened to me. Someone murder me. Murder me. Are you fucking kidding me?
Like, seriously, his solution is like a pod person's weekend at Bernie's.
It's pod people or something.
Like, it's weekend at Bernie's, the pod edition.
Oh my God.
And I like too that they had like multiplicity her. It's multiple versions. Somewhere out there's a version of RBG, like folding a piece of pizza into her purse.
Tom! We could just replace all the justices with 9 RGBs.
Yes.
Oh, abortion's legal forever.
And you get an abortion and reach under your seat. Fetuses.
Actually, don't reach under your seat.
It's a little messy.
I put it there earlier. It's warm.
You guys probably wondered what the smell in the studio was.
Yeah, just leave it in the Tupperware.
We set this up a week ago. We really should have turned on the stage lights. It got a little weird.
It's the worst cloning process ever, if that's the case. What are you doing? You're making an old person every time? We have to accelerate their age? I don't understand how this even works.
You know what I love? I love the idea that, like, if you cloned her and somehow you made it, like, that's nonsense. Like, you cloned her, but then you also, like, cloned her. Then she was born and, like, prematurely aged. I like the idea that you did all that, but you had to do it a lot because each time you did it, every time she had cancer.
She developed the cancer again and died.
Oh, man, we made another clone with the same cancer.
What are we thinking? We can clone people and then advance age them, but we can't cure cancer.
There's like a prestige, like bunch of like fucking aquariums full of RBGs.
The prestige happens after every single Supreme Court decision. They all drop and drown in little tubes underneath, and then they wheel out the brand new RGB and like whoever else is on the Supreme Court. God, Brett Kavanaugh.
I love the way
he's the only other person I know. Neil Gorsuch.
I would love to see them drown.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like,
okay with part of it.
Yeah. I'm halfway there.
Here's the thing. I'd be okay with all of them going now because it's 5-4.
Those are the only 2 options.
That's it. Guys, it's the only 2 options.
Nothing else makes sense.
Literally no other option.
Think about it.
There's no other option.
So we want to thank our patrons. Of course, we want to thank all our patrons, but we want to thank our most recent patrons, Tyler, Connor, Emily, Jason, Christian, that most delightful podcast, Hey Beast Humor, Alec, Wise Ass Wendy from Atlantic, Canada, Karen, Billum, Michael, Rabid, Kristen, Danielle, Diego, Mark, Kyle, and Dee Dee. We want to send mugs to 3 of our patrons. We want to send a mug to Emily, a mug to Karen, and a mug to Rabid. So if you hear your name, you need to send a message to Ian at dissonancepod.com. Tell him your address, and we will ship you a mug of Citation Needed. You just have to promise to listen to one of the episodes of Citation Needed, and we'll know because we'll be able to spot that.
We can know. The mugs are mic'd.
Yeah.
Don't shit.
Well, and I mean, we'll just know that one person downloaded that show. I mean, it's pretty easy detective work.
Will go off, lights and everything.
It's a pretty easy detective work, it turns out. This latest show is about Uranus. Very funny show. We're going to be releasing selfie-related deaths next week. So,
isn't it Uranus?
Uranus. So
I thought I saw.
So we also want to encourage people to become patrons. So if you weren't a patron before and you're thinking, hey, I really enjoy this show that they put out every week tirelessly, that they spend nearly 40 hours a week working on, you should do it.
Yeah, jokes about chicken wings aside, we really need patrons. So if you guys are listeners to the show, can I ask, like, really, genuinely, stop for a second and become a patron? We need it. Glory Hole Studios cannot exist. We can't keep doing the show without the support of our patrons. We really need you guys. So take a moment and become a patron, please.
We have a message from Aaron, and we got this from a couple of other people, but Aaron wanted us to know that we mentioned this on a different show. Now, this is on Citation Needed. Heath said, "Where the bloody hell are you?" was an Australian slogan that they were using to get people to show up. And it turns out that was from a company called Tourism Australia. And who was in charge of that ad campaign, you might ask? Our very own piece of shit, climate change denying, dipshit Prime Minister, Scott fucking Morrison. So didn't realize that. Great ad campaign. Yeah, that guy's a piece of garbage.
He really is the worst.
He's genuinely a piece of garbage. Yeah. Got a message from Marlo. Marlo made it to the glory hole after 506 episodes. Wow. Can't believe it. Just wanted to say, give a shout out to Marlo for listening to all the episodes pretty recently, and then also said they really liked episode 325, which is our first 100 days. That was right after Trump got elected, and he actually hadn't even been sworn in yet, as I recall. We did it in November, right, Tom? Do you remember? It was like November. It was like right after he released his first 100 days plan.
Yep.
We went over the whole first 100
prior to the
days.
inauguration.
Yeah. So take a look at that. They are going to try Citation Needed. So best of luck to you, Marlo. Thanks for listening. We really do appreciate it. All 506 episodes.
Impressive, Marlo.
Impressive. Got a message from Kyle. Kyle said that they had a spooky sort of thing happen. They were watching one night up in the sky and just saw some lights that were not blinking, following one right after another and then disappearing into the sky. They were following all the same path. And they mentioned, they said that, if they weren't skeptical, they'd probably think it's a UFO. No, it was a UFO. I mean, it was a UFO. Yeah. People, one of the things that makes me crazy is when I read, and I know you're not saying this, Kyle, but they'll say the government released documents that show that there was 10 UFOs that the Air Force saw. And people will say, oh, see, there are UFOs. And say, yeah, nobody ever disputed that there were UFOs. Unidentified flying objects have been around for a long time. That doesn't mean it's an alien.
Right.
It just means it's an unidentified flying object. That's become synonymous with alien, but it's not alien.
Yeah. Alien spacecraft would be the words you would use.
That's right. If you were using your language, you would use those.
If the government released a thing called "We found alien spacecraft zooming about," that would be different.
So Kyle thought about it for a bit and thought maybe it was just the sun had just gone down. Maybe sunlight was bouncing off the bodies of military aircrafts instead of lights because all the lights were blinking. And these lights were not blinking, and that might be an explanation for it.
Sure.
I'm sure there's other explanations out there of what you saw, Kyle. But yeah, it is one of those moments. I remember one time I was driving with a friend, and I looked up in the sky and I saw this thing. It no shit looked like a fucking 1950s UFO flying across, like an alien ship from the 1950s.
Yeah, right.
Spinning across. I looked and I immediately got like a shot of adrenaline in my heart. I was like, what the fuck? You know what it was?
A paper plate?
It was a bird. It was a bird that the light was just catching perfectly, and while it was flapping its wings, it made it look like it was spinning, but it was just a big like stork or something. But it was really far away.
Stupid.
Yeah, well, your eyes can't focus that far away.
Right.
Your eyes seek patterns. It's trying to dig through all my memory to be like, what is that you're seeing?
Right.
Oh, you saw that on the TV once. It must be this thing. It was a fucking bird.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I've also had that experience where you're driving and you're like, what the fuck is that light up there? And it looks like it's going really fast, but since you're in a car, relatively, it makes it feel like it's going fast. I've had that experience before. I've seen UFOs before, but it's just because I'm not smart enough to know what it was. Yeah. That's all.
I also think there's a certain level of like curiosity that like, I just don't, like I see something I'm like, I don't know what it is. And I don't think again.
You just don't care about it anymore?
Like this morning, like I heard like a weird whistling sound, and Haley woke me, she's like, what is that? I was like, I don't have to get up for a half an hour.
Yeah.
I don't care what that is.
It's a whistle.
Like, she laughed. She's like, aren't you curious? It's like, not enough to get up a half an hour before I have to get up.
Yeah.
Like, it could be a gnome with a harmonica in the bathroom. I don't care.
It could be the oven ready to blow up. I have a half an hour.
Call me in 30 minutes, oven.
We got a lot of messages from people about the healthcare system in the United States.
So many.
I want to let you guys know, we read all your messages. Yep. We don't want to read a lot of these because we are worried, we don't want to let everybody know what your problems are. But we want you to know that what we read was heartbreaking in a lot of cases, people having cancer, people not being able to get treatment for certain things. There was horror stories online. I'm not going to betray who it was, but one person said that they wound up getting their jaw wired shut in our Facebook page. Oh my God. On our fan page. Somebody had to get their jaw wired shut. They were able to afford that, but they were not able to afford the amount to get it unwired, and they had to unwire it with pliers. They passed out a couple times over a couple days, just bloody as fuck, but they were able to unwire their own jaw.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine? That's like some Nick Offerman shit from fucking Parks and Rec.
It is. Yeah. It's broken.
Yeah.
The thing we have, which isn't a system, is broken. Guys, thank you for sending your messages. And to all of our listeners in like civilized parts of the world, God, I hope we get there.
Yeah, I know. It's just a way better system, and you're not paying as much. And it's so funny because the other night on the debates, they start off the debates with, if you were going to go to war, blah, 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 blah. And they never mention, for a moment, how much the war is going to cost. But as soon as they got to the healthcare system, how are you going to pay for it? It's like, how are we going to pay for all those wars? It's like, they cost so much more money.
Yeah, we are lying. It's like, we can dig up the $5 or $6 trillion to go adventuring in Iraq and Afghanistan. And nobody's like, well, can we afford another Humvee?
Yeah.
Like, we're not, but like, it's like, well, I'd like to not be sick all the time. Well, I don't know if I got enough money in the couch cushions.
So we got a message. This is from River, and they said that we had talked about a gay man that had killed himself. And we had said committed suicide. And we didn't realize this, but evidently that's a holdover from when suicide was considered a crime, or at least carries those connotations. And so now we should try to say died by suicide or completed suicide. I didn't realize that, River. We will try to change our language in the future. Is something that never occurred to me.
I will try to be more conscious of that, but I can guarantee I'll say it wrong accidentally.
We're going to do our best, but I grew up my whole life saying that. I will try my very best to not say it. But it's something that didn't even occur to me. Yeah. So, yeah. So that is going to wrap it up for this week. You heard on this week, we had a live stream. We had a lot of fun on a live stream, watched a couple of videos and chatted about them. So if you want to catch our live streams, you can come join us. We do some stuff with chat. You can check it out. If you're a patron, you get the audio of that after it's finished. So the patrons have already listened to the audio of it. You can always go check out our videos after the fact, our live streams after the fact. So if you want to join us live, you can join us on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Central. We're on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, and a bunch of others. You can also, if you want, go check out those videos after they're posted. You can watch them on Facebook or on Twitch, YouTube. They only stay up for a little while on Twitch, but they stay up in perpetuity on Facebook and YouTube. You can go check them out there for sure. And while you're there, subscribe. That way you can get notifications when we go live. And we'd love to have you there. There's a chat community that talks to each other, and they seem to have a great time. We do interact with chat on occasion, and it's a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of fun. We're having a great time doing them, and you get a lot of extra content. It's like 40 extra minutes of us a week. You're also going to want to join us next week specifically because we're going to have Ian in studio and we're going to be able to make him feel uncomfortable while he's here. So Ian will be in studio next week. We're going to get he's flying out so we can fix our system forever. And so we're going to have a really nice system, but we've got to get him out here to make sure that all the bells are attached to all the whistles. But once that's done, we're going to be going live next week. So next week is the one that you don't want to miss. You want to show up next week for sure because Ian's going to be in studio and
he promised everything's going to work or we get to beat it.
And butt stuff. So come join us next week. That's going to wrap it up for this week. We're going to leave you like we always do with the Skeptic's Creed.
Credulity is not a virtue. It's fortune cookie cutter, mommy issue, hypno-Babylon bullshit. Couched in scientician, double bubble, toil and trouble, pseudo quasi alternative, acupunctuating, pressurized, stereogram, pyramidal, free energy healing, watered downward spiral, brain deadpan sales pitch, late night info docutainment. Leo, Pisces, cancer cures, detox, reflex, foot massage, death and towers, tarot cards, psychic healing, crystal balls, Bigfoot, Yeti, aliens, churches, mosques and synagogues, temples, dragons, giant worms, Atlantis, dolphins, truthers, birthers, witches, wizards, vaccine nuts, shaman healers, evangelists, conspiracy, doublespeak, stigmata, nonsense. Expose your sides. Thrust your hands, bloody, evidential, conclusive. Doubt even this.
The opinions and information provided on this podcast are intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions are solely that of Glory Hole Studios, LLC. Cognitive Dissonance makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, currentness, suitability, or validity of any information, and will not be liable for any errors, damages, or butthurt arising from consumption. All information is provided on an as-is basis. No refunds. Produced in association with the local Dairy Council and viewers like you.